Python is insane. With Python, we are able to write desktop applications, we are able to create websites, we are able to do machine learning, we are able to work with Raspberry and Arduino and a lot more. So in this video, we are going to download and install Python, we are going to work with PyCharm, and we are going to cover how to use variables and all the different types that we have. So stay with me. Hey, what's up guys? Sinead here from CodingPassiveIncome.com, the place where I help others to become a web developer much easier than they will do it on their own. So if that is something that interests you, make sure that you subscribe. So before we start with the Python, the first thing that of course we need to do is to download one. So all you need to do is go to their website python.org/downloads, and then here you are going to have a different versions. They will probably by default select the one for your operating system, but if that is not the case, then you are able to switch and choose the different one. So when you download, I'm not going to of course cover that, but when you download and install, the next thing that we want to do is we are going to download one tool that we are with which we are able to easily write the code, and that one is called the PyCharm. Of course there are some others, but this is one preferred by me and by most developers, and this one is free. So yeah, make sure that you download the one so you can get it from this URL. I'll also have the links below the video. And again, select the proper operating system, download, install, and let's get started. So now once you did that, you will be able to see this screen. So I will go to create a new project. So maybe I can say getting started. Okay. Here you should be able to see the defaults. Basically, if you don't see here, you probably haven't installed the Python. So if you did see, that means it's all here. So I will use existing interpreter and hit create. Okay, now this is PyCharm, and if you have watched any of my video tutorials, you know that PHP Storm pretty much looks exactly the same, which is amazing. And yes, that is the case. It's the same company, it looks the same, pretty much all the features are the same, but this one is just made for the Python. Okay, now the next thing is we are going to create a new Python file, and here we are just going to give it a name. So I will say just maybe hello world, like just the first one, hit enter, and as you can see here, the Python have extension .py, so all the files are associated with that, just like with PHP we have .php. Okay, now the next thing I want you to do before writing any code or anything is to add configuration. So I will go to the plus Python, and then here I will say for the script path, I will click here, getting started, and hit hello world. Okay, working directory, that's all good. And then for the execution, I will say run with Python console. I will show about that later. So I'll hit OK. And if everything is okay, this is what you should see here. And when you click on this small icon, okay, if everything you did correctly, so maybe try to zoom in, this is how it's going to look like. So that means that you have now set up officially everything correctly and everything is going to work fine. Now we are able to do two different things. We are able to write the code instantly here inside the interpreter. So each time when we hit enter, the code will be immediately executed, or we are able to write the code upper here in the file, and when we hit this small button here, that code will be executed down below. So whatever you prefer, just do it. For now, for this very simple tutorial that we have here, where we are going to discuss and talk about the basics, I will use interpreter because it's faster. But if you want, just like I explained before, right here, Shift F10, and that's it. Okay, so first let's get started with variables. That is the most important part. So we are able to define different type of the variables, but we do not need to manually specify the type of the variable. So what do I mean by that? So let's say we want to declare one variable that is going to be a number. So let's say I'll say num equal, let's say 5, and when I hit enter, the code has been executed. And now here at the right side you can see that we have some special variables that are always available, which is something like we have in the PHP that are global variables, but in the Python we call those special variables. And then down below you have all the variables that are created by you. So as you can see here, it says that we have first variable number, the type is integer, and its value is number 5. Now if we want to define another variable, so let's say number float is equal and then maybe 5.3. When I hit enter, it's executed, and then here you can see that they say now it's type of the float and it's 5.3. Okay, now if we want to create third variable and use the basic math operations, which is like, let's say we want to sum those two numbers, so let's say sum is equal, or maybe total is equal num plus num float. When I hit enter, you can see that end result is float and it's 10.3, which is what we expect. But now let's try to create one string. So let's say maybe first name equal Sinead. Okay, now we can see here they say it's string. So now let's say something that we pretty often do in PHP without ever thinking about that. So we can say something like num, or maybe first name plus num, and boom, now when we hit the enter, you can see now that we have the error. It says type error, must be string, not integer. So it means that with Python we are not able, just as easy as in PHP, combine different type of variables and just get the final output. Of course we are able to do it with using some functions which we are going to cover later, but doing it simply like this, doing some concatenation, that's not doable. Okay, so let's define another variable. So let's say last name, let's say B. Okay, now if we want to do concatenation of the strings, we are just going to do it just like we do in the JavaScript, which is using the plus sign. So let's say name is going to be equal first name plus and maybe some space, and then I will say last name. When I hit enter, that is going to work. And now we can see here from the right side that we have the name equal Sinead B, which is type of the string. Okay, as expected. Now the next type that we want to cover is something that we call arrays inside the PHP. So let's say I will say friends equal, and let's say John, Chris, Johnny. When I hit enter, you can see now from the right side that they have created it, but they call it list. So it's not array, it's a list. Okay, it's just a different terminology, but pretty much it's exactly the same thing. And as you can see here, they immediately show that it is an indexed array, and they show like 0, 1, 2. Okay, so maybe if we now try to say friends and then 0, you can see they say John, which is exactly what we have expected here. Okay, and the last thing for today that I'm going to show you inside this tutorial is how to print something to the console. So maybe we can say print, okay, and then specify here whatever, which is, let's say, hello world. I will hit enter and it is going to work. Now for those of you that may want to be interested how to do it in the file, let's make one example. So I will just say first name is equal Sinead, and as you may notice, when you type in the file, you don't see the variables that you have down below in the interpreter. So that's something to keep in mind so that you just don't get confused. Okay, so let's say last name B, and then we can say print. So let's say hello, and then I will say first name plus k plus last name. Okay, and now when I execute, you can see now that it's immediately executed, that all the variables have been initialized, and we have also here the printed message that we have been expecting. Okay, so guys, pretty much that's it. I hope so. It's super simple, super easy. I have tried to make comparison with PHP and the JavaScript so that it's easy for you to make transition from those languages to the Python. And yeah, in the next video we are going to cover the loops, conditions, and a lot more. So guys, if you have enjoyed this video, please like it and share it to your friends. And of course, like always, if you have any questions or anything, make sure that you ask in the comments below, and I will be more than happy to answer all of them. Take care.